Vadd here on the Ragnarok map playing DinoOverhaul X. That's right, DinoOverhaul Extreme. One of the changes to the mod since this series started was the prime wild dinos can lay prime eggs. That's right, these eggs will have the same red prime star over their nest, just like we learned about in episode 5 with those prime tier bosses having the red star over their head. This is an absolutely massive change for progression through the ARK DOX mod. Really quick, I want to show you how you could have known about this change the moment it happened. Head over to the Steam Workshop page for the DinoOverhaul X mod and then make your way to the tab labeled Change Notes. Here are the up-to-date notes for the changes to the mod. I highly recommend making your way through these. Just because the eggs have been laid by a prime wild does not mean the nest defender is going to be a prime tier. Here I think I caught one being put down. There's an Apex Manticore guarding the nest and an Apex Manticore prime on the nest. I'm doing a random shout out from the subscriber pool. Thank you Blue Ender Cookie 2 for the support. I really appreciate that. If you want a chance to get mentioned in the next video, subscribe now. Right now, subscribe. We were looking for some great names for the wolves. Thank you Enigma for the name suggestion of Night Gaze. As we move into those dragon tames, it's time for us to get some names for the dragons. If there's a name you would love to see flying around in the sky in the series, please comment below right now with that dragon. Thank you. Part of why those prime wild eggs are so massively changing progression is because here you can see there was an egg that hatched and the conditions here in Viking Bay were correct and it grew and it was here for us to imprint, and now we have an Apex Ice Dragon which is well beyond our capabilities right now. We've not fought the tames it would need to fight to get an Apex Ice Dragon. It's still going to need some imprinting, but I found all kinds of hatch tames in different biomes in the map from these prime wild eggs. You know, that Apex Ice Dragon, we need to kill a mega, we need to fight a prime Ferox in order to get our hands on one, and we haven't done that yet. That's just a little beyond our capabilities right now in the mod. We've not challenged a mega just yet, and we haven't challenged that prime Ferox just yet. It's just not somewhere we're at. But since we have one now, what's the difference between an Apex Dragon and an Apex Ice Dragon? The biggest difference between the two dragons is that one breathes fire and one has a frost breath attack, which makes a big difference. Sure, it's a tier of progression above the Apex Dragon, this Apex Ice Dragon, but that frost breath is very different from that fire breath. Again, just like we learned in last episode, we can put a head buff into the dragon and get just about a flat 50% increase in all of our stats across the board, which is really nice. Makes a huge difference to have that permanent stat increase. We have a max level dragon saddle. We put about 90,000 health. We have a little under 400% movement speed, and we are going to do some clobbering. It's time to fight the Apex Dragon Prime with our Apex Ice Dragon. Notice here the big damage from that bite attack. That really hurt. We want to avoid that bite attack at all costs. We do not want to be trying to brawl with this Apex Dragon Prime. We want to keep it at a little bit of a distance and do some strafing runs. We're going to pass it, we're going to breathe on it, and we're going to keep our health potions running. You should notice here we made some huge mistakes in this fight, and if you don't know what they are, I'm going to point them out right now. Notice we're taking that fire damage because we have our riot gear instead of our chitin gear. We also went out with the Jeroboa Prime Pygmy. You can see that plus symbol icon, and I think it would have been better to bring more defense in this fight. We weren't struggling with stamina regen, and I felt like we were hitting plenty hard enough. Another big mistake we made in this fight was biting off more than we can shoot. We picked a bad spot for this fight because, as you can see right now on screen, if you're watching, you can see we're not just fighting the Apex Prime Dragon anymore. We're also fighting an Apex Ice Dragon Prime. We have full health, and we get one shot destroyed by that Apex Ice Dragon Prime and the Apex Prime Dragon. That was way too much damage for our poor Ice Dragon. Okay, this one's going under review. You gotta double check this one. Wind back the tape, wind back the clock. Full health, check. Double primes against us, check. Deleted. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can't fix some of our mistakes. We're coming out this time with the Doed, that Apex Doed Pygmy overlevel of 550. We of course have that chitin armor to negate some of that fire damage, and we've got our corruption stone, a max level saddle, and we're going to go out on our ice manticore. We try and bring opposite element types into the fights. It doesn't always matter, but in case it does, we don't want to get too involved with a fight that we cannot take. Remember when we were fighting that prime lava golem and our fire manticore was really struggling in that fight? and our Ice Manticores doing the damage. That was a clue for me that we should try and always bring opposite element types, where if we're fighting something that's clearly fire, let's bring out something that is ice. If we're fighting something that's clearly ice, let's try and bring out something that's fire. The Apex Prime Dragon is a very challenging prime dino to fight. It hits really hard with that bite attack, and it seems like it has 2 different fire attacks. I had a tough time getting a good shot of the 2 different fire breath attacks, but sometimes it hits me for well over 1,000 damage, and other times it hits me for a little under 1,000 damage. That being said, this is not a fight you want to take lightly. You really need to bring the potions. You need to bring a lot of potions. This tame hits really hard. It's not too fast while you're fighting it. Last episode we had one make a runner from us. I did not have it happen as I was out here trying to challenge the Apex Dragon Prime Wild. That being said, take your time, line up your shots. You can win this fight as long as you showed up prepared to win. Right here, I'm making big mistakes. You don't want to brawl with this Apex Dragon Prime. With those 2 different breath attacks, we give it a really easy target by standing still, and its bite attack does a lot of damage. To try and put some perspective on that, I've been highlighting the damage we've been doing to the Prime Dragon, but I think it's time that we look at the damage that we have been receiving during these fights with the Prime Dragon. This fight, I'm going to flip the script, and oh look, a space whale. Yeah, nice. I'm going to flip the script. Let's look at our health. You're going to see that we really couldn't take more than 4 hits from this Apex Prime Dragon. Hits us for that first chunk, and that's about 1/3 of our health, about 1/4 of our health. For that second attack, we're down to just about half health. We've got a very tanky Ice Manticore Prime. We have that Apex Doed Pygmy. We've got a Corruption Stone. We have Chitin Gear. We're running all potions for this fight. And without those potions, we lose. We will most certainly die trying to fight the Apex Dragon Prime Wild. It is a very dangerous prime. The loot is good for the most part, beyond getting the dragon head, which we can use as that head buff on our dragons. I also got some fun saddles, some good bit of prime kibble, and some potions. Not all those potions on screen from the dragon. Overall, a challenging fight, that Prime Dragon, but it seems like it was well worth taking on and taking down in our DinoOverhaul X progression. Let's take out a new ancient tame. We've pulled a few ancient griffins from Skeletor the Transmute Shrine, and we of course could regress. We could go get ourselves a prime griffin, but that seems kind of foolish. We need that prime phoenix head for our Manticore progression. We'd have to go kill prime golems to get those, or not necessarily prime golems. We have to go fight golems to get those lava stones. It would just seems kind of useless. We do have a grounding attack, which does do damage as well as ground flyers. We have pretty much standard griffin stuff. We can pounce and slam the ground, but this Dox griffin has an explosion when it does it, which is fun. If there's some trouble in the skies, we can do some classic griffin swooping. It's a lot of fun to go out and take on the nest defenders with the griffin pounce, and you can pull a weapon from that ancient griffin's back. And again, the Dox griffin has a fire claw, so it's a lot of fun. The Dox griffin is a great tame. Go ahead, try it out. I'm sure you will enjoy it. One thing we haven't talked about yet are those poison bullets and the poison pistols. We've got an absolute boatload of these poison pistols, and the important thing to know about the poison pistol is it slows down what you're shooting at. It does damage, it does toper, but it slows down your target. Not just ground targets, but the flyers are also going to fly slow. Remember that DinoOverhaul X remaps some of where the tames might be spawning or coming in, which takes us into the Ragnarok base location for this episode. We are here at Stefan's Shame, latitude and longitude on screen right now. Normally, if you're on the Ragnarok map, I believe there's some wyverns around here, but since we're in the Dox mod, there are no wyvern nests in here for sure. This is going to be a tough base location to close off. It has 5 different entrances that you will need to block off. 3 only accessible through air or through jumping off a cliff, 2 on the back end here on the ground level. This is a good base location for a small, medium, or even a large tribe. As long as you can secure these different access points to your base, you should have a lot of fun building here. I like the different elevations. I like it has its own little waterfall, its own water source. I think those are some strong positive features to Stefan's Shame here. The other issue you might run into is that you're going to need to expand at some point, and there's room to expand, just not so much room inside the cave. You could consider expanding on top of the cave with some Dox domes. Other than a potential space issue. You might run into some trouble that things will spawn in here. It really is a big location. You want to make sure you put down an appropriate number of foundations and structures inside the cave to secure your base location. I really like Stefan's shame. I think it's a lot of fun to have that water running through your base. I would recommend go ahead and trying it out. It's not the most centrally located on the map, but it's not too far in any one direction either. I like the spot, and I think that you'll like it too. Go ahead, give it a try. I find lots of good tames down in the water, out in the woods. It's a pretty fantastic base location. Corrupt Penguin Pygmy check. We're gonna come out here with our Prime Wyvern with a max level Wyvern saddle and take on that Prime Pithecus. We are so excited to fight this fight. And a couple of things we want to know about the Prime Pithecus. Number one, it hits hard. Did you see that giant rock? I've seen that rock bounce off the terrain like a pinball in kind of a Z formation. That thing will go crazy. And then it throws the giant snowball. Yeah, we gotta watch out for that too. And if the giant rock and giant snowball wasn't enough, we're taking some percentage points off our total health pool in the damage when we get hit. In addition to all those different attacks, we also get hit with these little tiny heat-seeking missile snowballs. You can't dodge them. They do toper damage. This is such a dangerous fight. We did try to take our Prime Wyvern out and hit it with our ranged attack, but it was about impossible. Also, we're dead. That's right, we're dead. We're coming back though. We're gonna try out a Fire Manticore. Little bit of a tip here for you. That Prime Pithecus is pretty much immune to ice damage. I took out the Ice Manticore and was surprised by the fact that my Wyvern's alive. I guess the Prime Pithecus just killed me and my Pygmy. I could not get the Corruption Stone back. I couldn't find the Penguin's bag. We know that the Prime Pithecus is a little bit immune to ice damage, so we're coming out with our fire damage. So we have our Apex Fire Manticore Prime. Our Fire Wyvern Prime was a good tool to be using. We did try and use that ranged attack and had just about zero success with landing it. The Prime Pithecus is a surprisingly small target, and it has at least 3 different ranged attacks. Those snowballs do hit pretty hard, but less with your health pool and more it seems to be with your toper. Your toper goes up pretty heavy here. Prime Pithecus is also fast. If you're not going to dodge that big boulder, you're going to die. If you're not going to dodge that kind of large snowball, bring some health potions. I'm not sure that large snowball can be completely dodged, but the boulder can. I feel like that boulder is the kill shot on the Prime Pithecus, but we're going to be able to win this fight. I thought that this might be a fight we might want to try on the ground because we just wanted to die. So we're going to bring out our Ancient Daeodon Prime. We've rolled a few of these, and we have our Pygmy that provides defensive bonuses. We've got our Riot gear on because this doesn't do any fire damage, so we want that flat bonus. And the basic concept here is we're going to try and take a bite out of the old Prime Pithecus. We're going to summon in our minions and try and get our minions to attack the Prime Pithecus while we run away, and the Prime Pithecus focuses on the tame that we are riding. All that being said, this was absolutely hectic, it was frantic, it was just wild. I'm not sure this is the best way to do it. I wasn't very successful. The Ancient Daeodon does have a small moment where when it summons in the minions, it just kind of freezes. I'm going to speed this up. This took a pretty long time. I think that's my own fault for getting stuck on rocks, taking way too many shots from the Prime Pithecus, failing to summon in my minions. I think you could do this. I'm not sure you want to, but if you don't have a good flyer and you've rolled a bunch of pigs, you could try it out. This cooldown time on the Ancient Daeodon's minions it can summon in seems to be fairly reasonable, and they hit pretty hard as long as you can get that Prime Pithecus focused on you so your minions can get some hits in. Standout drops from the loot table would remain the head you get from taking down the Prime Pithecus. I think this is one of the most fun primes to fight. It has all those different attacks. You've got to manage your health bar, you've got to manage your toper bar. I think it's a really great prime to take down, but it's tough. I had just about everything go wrong in this fight. I picked kind of a bad spot. There were a lot of just mean stuff flying around. There was 3 nests that I had to clear out just to get this fight started, and I couldn't quite get that last nest taken out, and I did not realize just how much toper damage I was taking here. We are gear stacked up, but we are just on that base level Apex Dragon, and we're taking on what is one of the higher tier primes. And I'm going to pull up on screen here those little snowballs absolutely putting the smash on our toper, and everything goes wrong. We are going to get dismounted if we are not at anything less. If we get any more toper, we're getting dismounted. That's how ARK works. You're on a flyer, its toper gets maxed out, you get thrown off. We're doing good damage. That Apex Dragon, I really think out of the big 3, the Wyvern egg, the Manticore egg, the Dragon egg, that Apex Dragon at that base level, you really can take on a large majority of the prime tier dinos with good success as long as you're gear stacked up and have some idea of what's going on. We only need a couple more passes to take down the Apex Prime Pithecus and we're not going to get the chance. We're going to get dismounted. Our Toper is absolutely maxed out. We're going to run over, grab that egg, panic, throw off our Pygmy, and then we're just whiling over here. Do you see this dragon? It won't land. It's unconscious, but it won't land, and the monkey's going to kill it. Oh, man. Say it isn't so. I'm going to try and grapple up to the dragon, see if we can just get on top of it. Maybe it's not it's firing back? Maybe it's not unconscious. No, it's got to be unconscious. There's no way it's reconscious by now. This is ridiculous. You know what? Just gonna have to be our own hero. Think you're gonna eat our dragon? You can beat your chest all you want to. That dragon is not for you. Not today, monkey. Not today. Tough fight, a fun fight. Make sure to come prepared. Please make sure you like this video if you enjoyed. Right now, hit the thumbs up button. If you learned something or enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you have joined and enjoyed before, welcome back. If you would like to see more quality content, please consider joining me in supporting the channel through Patreon and utilizing the affiliated links. Thanks.